Good morning everyone. So in the earlier classes we discussed about angular gauges and bevel protractors. Those two are for identifying the angle of our components. So today we are going to discuss about angle decor and spirit levels. Those two are also used to identify the angle of the components. So now we will discuss about angle decor. So angle decor consists of a microscopic eyepiece. So this angle decor consists of a microscopic eyepiece. Through this microscope, we are going to view our scales. So here the reflected scales can be viewed from this microscope. So here this equipment consists of a lamp. So it consists of a light source. After that it consists of a prism. So this prism is used to deviate the projected light. So after that it consists of a collimating lens. So the purpose of this collimating lens is to convert the inclined beams to parallel beams, as well as it also converts the parallel beams to inclined lines and make it to project in a single point. So here if we observe that a single light ray from a single source, from a single point, it is deviating. So here the collimating lens is converting the inclined lines into parallel lines. After that again the reflected lines. So here from here the lines are parallel. So again those parallel lines are diverging into a single point. So all the lines are merging at a single point. The purpose of collimating lens is to convert the inclined lines to parallel beams or parallel beams into inclined lines. So next, it consists of a glass screen. So it consists of a glass screen. In the glass screen, it consists of two scales. Here, one scale is at this junction and the other scale is at this junction. So at scale 1, it consists of an illuminated scale. Illuminated scale is marked on this glass, and one more object to lens, and one more illuminated scale is marked here. So here one is in the horizontal scale and one more in vertical scale. So two scales are marked on this glass screen, and this is our workpiece. So here the workpiece, it means the angle to be identified. So now coming to the principle. So here a light source is emitting from our lamp. So a light source is emitting from this lamp and it is projecting on the prism. So light source is projecting on the prism. So by means of prism we are converting our rays. So here by means of prism it is splitting the ray into n number of rays. So here from a single source, from a single line, it is deviating into three lines. Here it is shown three lines. So here red mark indicates a projecting light. So the light from the prism is deviating and it is reflecting on the collimating lens. The rays are falling on the collimating lens. So here by means of collimating lens we are converting the inclined lines into parallel beams. So from here to here the light rays are inclined to each other, whereas from here to the workpiece, the lines are parallel to each other. By means of collimating lens, we are converting the inclined lines into parallel beams. So once the rays are projected on the workpiece, due to its reflection, the light rays are reflected back. So here the workpiece should be highly polished, so that the lights should be reflected. So here the projected light source is again reflecting. So that reflecting and it is passed through the collimating lens. So from here to here the reflected beams are parallel to each other. Once it strikes the collimating lens, it converting all the lines, all the light rays are projecting at a single point. It means from here to here those lines, the light rays are inclined to each other, whereas from collimating to lens to workpiece, those are parallel to each other. By means of collimating lens, we are converting inclined lines to parallel beams as well as parallel beams to inclined beams. So now all the light sources are projecting at a single point. Those can be identified by means of this microscope. So angle decker, it is used for measuring angles. Angle decker is used for identifying angles. It consists of a microscope, objective lens, and two scales. So it consists of a microscope and objective lens. So this one is objective lens, microscope, objective lens, and two scales. So in this, these are the two scales. Two scales engraved on glass screen. One scale called a datum scale is horizontal. So here the datum scale is in a horizontal position. Another scale is illuminated vertical scale. So here this is in vertical way. So one line is horizontal line and one more line is vertical line. So these are the two indicator lines. Fixed datum line, that is in horizontal range, whereas reflected illuminated scale is in vertical ways. So rays from the light source. So as mentioned here, the lamp is a light source. The rays from the light source is reflecting onto the prism. So after passing through the prism, strike the scale which is projected as a parallel beam by the collimating lens onto the workpiece. So from light source to workpiece, the light ray is traveling. So the light ray is traveling from the lamp, light source to the prism, and then prism to the collimating lens, and then collimating lens to the workpiece. So this workpiece, so there are a reflector plane below the instrument. So this workpiece, so all the workpiece cannot be reflected. At that condition, we can use slip gauges. As we know that slip gauges are having parallel faces. Slip gauges are having parallel faces. So, and those are polished, highly polished. So that the slip gauges are having higher reflection rate. So that on the top of the workpiece, we can place this slip gauge also. So, for example, if we consider a component, so now this is making an angle theta. So this surface, if this surface is not reflecting, so it means this is having dull surface. Then we will place a slip gauge. So this one is called slip gauge. And this is our workpiece. Due to lack of reflection or reflection, we added a slip gauge on the top of this workpiece. So by adding this slip gauge, the angle is not going to change anything. Why? Because these two are parallel to each other. So if these are parallel, then the angle will not be changed. So now if the theta is, here theta is 30 degrees. If you project the line like this, and if you draw, so if we project this line and if we draw a line, then this angle is also equal to the same angle. Why? Because this slip gauge is having parallel faces. Now this theta is also equal to 30 degrees. So if we add any slip gauges, the angle of the workpiece is not going to change anything. So for increasing the reflection of the component, we are adding one more slip gauge. So next, this beam is then, this beam is then reflected from the workpiece or reflector and refocused by the lens in the field view of the eyepiece. So the image, the light ray emitting from the light source is now at workpiece. So now from the workpiece, it again reflects and it can be viewed from the microscope. The field of view of the eyepiece consists of another datum scale fixed across the center of the screen. So as we indicated that there are two lines. One is the horizontal and one more is vertical. These two can be viewed from our microscope. So the reflected image of the illuminated scale and the fixed datum scale intersect at each other at right angles, like this. So one is horizontal and one is vertical. those two are intersecting and that can be viewed from our microscope. If we see the component from the workpiece, then we can identify these two scales. That is one horizontal scale and one more vertical scale. Those two scales can be seen from the microscope. The reading on the illuminated image represent the deviation from axis at 90 degrees to the optical axis. So the change in the angular position of the surface is shown by the change in the angular position of the surface is shown by the variation in the position of the point of intersection of the two scales on the fixed datum scale. So here the reflection, if the vertical line is at this location, if both the zeros coincide each other, then the angle of the workpiece is 0. If it is showing any deviation, that indicates the angle of the component. Reading from the scale can be read directly up to 1 minute without the use of micrometer. Without any use of micrometer, we can identify the angle up to 1 minute. So next, the optical system of the Dekar shown in figure is enclosed in a tube mounted. So earlier we seen the principle. Those all things is mounted on this tubular section. The optical system of the Dekar shown in the earlier figure is enclosed in the tube mounted on adjustable bracket. So this is the adjustable link. By means of this adjustable link, we can vary the tube adjusting bracket, and the whole system is mounted on a flat reflective base. So these all are mounted on a surface plate. The surface plate is having some reflection. Angle Dekar can be used in conjunction with angular gauges for measuring angles, setting of jobs for machining, and measuring angles of cones. As we know that cone is having angle. So to identify the angle, we are using angle Dekars. The principle of the measurement. So the principle of the measurement consists of comparing the reading obtained with a polished reflector or surface gauges. So as we mentioned that earlier, we can use surface gauges also, slip gauges also. With the polished reflector or slip gauges in contact with the workpiece. So on the top of the workpiece, we are placing those slip gauges in contact with the workpiece, and a zero reading obtained from an angle gauge block. And zero reading can be obtained from an angle gauge block also. So this is the reading. So if we set by means of angle block, we are making that to 0, and it means, so we used an angle block of 30 degrees. So by means of this 30 degrees angle block, we are making that as 0. After that, we are replacing this 30 degrees with the workpiece. So then it indicates that how much it is deviating from this 30. Why? Because we make the 30 as constant, 30 as 0. So at this 0, after that we are replacing this component with a workpiece. So at the junction it gives a deviation. This is the error. So initially our component is like this. It means with the setting of angular gauges. After that we replace the angular gauge with workpiece. So that is showing how it is deviated, how much it is deviated. So the figure shows schematically the method of finding the angle of the workpiece using the angle Dekar. Next, first, a set of angle gauge blocks. A set of angle gauge blocks with an angle close to the angle to be measured. So if the angle to be measured is around 30.5, then we will take a 30 degrees angle. If it is 46, then we will take 45. If it is 10, we will take nearby 10 or 9 or whatever it is. So nearby angle can be taken for this purpose. Is placed. So first a set of angle gauges works with an angle close to the angle to be measured. So nearer to the angle to be measured, we are keeping those angle gauges. on the surface plate is placed on the surface plate, and the reflected image of the angle is set observed in the eyepiece. So we are going to measure, we are identifying the angle of the angle gauges. Next, the angle decker can then be set such that zero reading is obtained to the illuminated scale. So we are placing some angle gauges on the surface plate and we are making the reading as 0. We are adjusting the instrument to be 0. The angle gauges are set is then. So now we make that as 0 by means of this angle gauges. Now these angle gauges are replaced with workpiece. The angle gauge set is then replaced by the workpiece on which a slip gauge is attached to serve as a reflector. If the component is having reflection surface, no need to use any slip gauge. If that surface is dull, it is not having any reflection, then we will add slip gauge on the top of the workpiece. So, the difference between the angle of the workpiece and the angle of the gauge block. So, between the workpiece and the angle of the gauge block set, if any, appears as the difference between the position of the reflected scale on the datum scale as indicated as error. Angle decker is not a precision instrument. Angle decker is not a precision measuring instrument compared to autocollimator. So autocollimator is one more device used for identifying angles. So compared to autocollimator, this angle decker is not that much precision instrument, but serves as a simple general purpose instrument in the shop. It's a simple instrument. Compared to autocollimator, this is a simple instrument, but this is not that much accurate. It has the advantage of giving readings directly without the use of vernier. Without the use of any external components, external instruments, we are identifying the angle of the component. Next, the angle difference between the reference position. So in some cases, we are making this reference position to 0. The angle difference between the reference position and the test position can be read to an accuracy of 10 minutes. The accuracy of this is 10 minutes. It means it's none other than the least count. The least count of the angle decker is 10 minutes, which is good enough for general workshop use. So angle decker applications. So angle deckers are used for measuring the angle of a component. Next, it is used for checking the sloping angle. It is used for checking the sloping angle of a V block. Next, measuring the angle of a cone or taper gauges. Next, precise angle setting for machining operations. If we want to do any machining operations, those angles can be set by means of this angle deckers. So this is the instrument of our angle decker. So on the surface plate to an angular bracket, our complete tubular section, this angle decker is connected. Spirit level. Spirit level is used to identify whether the component is horizontally aligned or vertically aligned. By means of spirit level, we cannot identify the angle of the component. By means of this, we can only set to a horizontal plane or to a vertical reference. So by means of a bubble, we can align the component to horizontal or vertical. So by means of this, we are not getting any angle. So spirit level is also called as bubble or level. Spirit level is also called as bubble level. It is a sealed glass tube containing alcohol or spirit. So in some cases it consists of alcohol, and in some tubes it consists of spirit containing alcohol and an air bubble. So by means of this air bubble only, we are identifying whether the component is horizontally aligned or it is making any inclination. So by means of the position of this air bubble, we are identifying whether it is aligned correctly or not. This was invented in 1961. From 1661. From 1661 onwards, we are using this spirit level. So, how to use a spirit level? First, clean the level, removing all the build-up, and dirt from the edges. So, if we want to measure the surface, any surface, if we want to align, we need to clean the surfaces. Why? Because if there is any dust particles or any foreign particles, our leveler will not be on a surface. Due to one position or due to one impurities, the component will be aligned inclined, so that we can get errors. So to avoid that errors, we are building up and we are removing all the dirt from the surface of the components. Next, we need to mark a line along the bottom edge of the component. Next, flip the level. We need to flip the level over so that the bottom becomes the top. Now, put the new top edge along the marked line. If the bubble is centered, so in the condition, if the bubble is centered, your level is accurate. So here the position, if you identify the position of the bubble is not centered. If it is centered, then the level is accurate. If the bubble is centered, your level is accurate. If the bubble is not at the center, then it is defective. Next, place the level on the surface. Place the level on the surface of the object for which you want to find a true horizontal. Make sure the spirit level runs parallel to the object. So we need to it should be parallel to the base. Allow the bubble to float on the top of the spirit tube. So next, put your eyes at level with the spirit tube. In order to get an accurate reading, close one eye. So if we close one eye, we can accurately see the level of the spirit level. So take note whether the bubble is inside the spirit tube. If it is centered between the lines of the tube, your object is level. If it is between the two lines, between these two marked lines, then the component is centered. If the bubble is to the right of the lines, your object slopes towards right to left. Whereas, if the bubble is to the left side of the lines, your object slopes downwards. It means left to right. To find the true vertical, repeat the same process vertically. So if we follow the procedure same in a vertical manner, by means of other gauges, we can identify the vertical level also. So for identifying horizontal or vertical levels, we are using this spirit level. If it is tilted to one of the direction, either right or left, our component is defective. It means it is not making horizontal or vertical surfaces. It is inclined to some other surfaces. So these are the split gauges and angle deckers. These two are used for identifying angles of the components. Thank you.